Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Philadelphia Eagles Now. Let's jump into your mailbag questions here on a Friday. Of course, if you wanted to be a part of this week's mailbag video, you asked a question, but it's not here. It either wasn't a good question or you weren't a subscriber. Go down below and subscribe. That way you can be part of next week's mailbag video and help us get to 26,000 subs. All right, Tariq says, with Russell Wilson now being a Bronco, do you see either Metcalf or Lockett requesting a trade? And if they do, could Howie actually pull the trigger regarding it? I mean, he could. Sure, I mean, why not? Like, the Eagles are going to add a wide receiver, and with Calvin Ridley being no longer available, Mike Williams being no longer available, Devontae Adams being no longer available, Chris Godwin no longer available, like, it's starting to get a little bit slim. Now, there are still plenty of options in the free agent market, and we talked about those a lot here on the channel. I've done videos on them as well, and plenty of draft options, but for some reason, a lot of Eagle fans are stuck on DK Metcalf. Now, that's fine. I think Metcalf would be a good addition. I just am not as, like, got to get Metcalf, or, no one else is going to be good. There are still plenty of other great options in free agency, and I'm very high on guys like Treylon Burks in the NFL draft, other people like Drake London. Like, if they don't get Metcalf, it's not the end of the world. Also, I don't think they're going to trade Tyler Lockett. I think they just gave Lockett a big contract extension, and I think the Steelers, not the Steelers, the Seahawks, let's get our S teams right there. The Seahawks are very much in on not full rebuild. Like, they have, obviously, draft capital, they have free agent money. I think they're trying to go and trade for one of these quarterbacks that are available, maybe Deshaun Watson later on in the year, maybe they draft somebody, but I don't think they're just going to ship everybody off. It's not a total purge right now for the Seattle Seahawks, and so while I'm fine with going after either one of those, Lockett is fantastic, so is Metcalf. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that Howie's going to go ahead and go to free agency or the draft to get their wide receiver. Ad break, pin comment down below. What's the craziest thing that happened this week? Like, you got to realize a lot happened this week. Carson Wentz, which we'll talk about, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Bobby Wagner, like a ton of things have gone down this week. What's the craziest thing that's happened in the NFL? Let me know down below right now. Next question comes from Kevin Ballantyne, who says, hashtag Eagles, so Thomas. Now that Mike Williams and Calvin Ridley are both off the table for free agency, does that change your perspective on what position the Eagles should look at in free agency? Maybe sign someone on defense and use a draft pick for a wide receiver. That's fine, but it really doesn't change my plans overall. I think there are still plenty of great free agent wide receivers, and I just mentioned a bunch of them who are no longer available, but there are still plenty who are. Allen Robinson, DJ Chark, Juju Smith-Schuster. There are a bunch of options you could just go ahead and nab in free agency. And you mentioned the draft. This is probably the most loaded wide receiver draft we've seen in a long time. There have been some loaded ones the past couple of really years. So I'm not worried at all. I really was bummed that Mike Williams got signed, and even though it makes sense, he wants to stay with Justin Herbert, I would too. And then, of course, Calvin Ridley, that's just been a whole mess in Atlanta. You didn't talk about Calvin Ridley. But I don't think it changes the plan. I think you adjust things a little bit, but overall, I think they're still going to go wide receiver at some point this offseason, and they might go wide receiver in both the draft and free agency. TomBomb12 says, what do you make of Wentz being traded to the Commanders? Boy, this was fun. I'll be honest. I think the Commanders must be very desperate. I think the Commanders tried for Russell Wilson, that was reported, and they got completely shut down, and they realized that Washington is not a destination place. You're not going to go to somebody or some team and a quarterback with a no-trade clause like Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson and say, hey, come play for us. We'll give you a ton of stuff, because Wilson doesn't want to go there. It's not a healthy franchise, right? Now, they have talent, and I think that they are very underrated in terms of their overall talent on both sides of the football. I think Carson Wentz is going to a good position, but you read up on the stuff that happened with Carson Wentz and the Colts and how, is he a good teammate? Is he not? Is he dramatic? Is he not? I'm not going to comment on that. I think it's a desperate move for the Commanders. I think Wentz can win some games, but is he going to revitalize his career and go back to 2017 Carson Wentz? No, I don't see that happening overall. So I think it's going to be fun when they play each other, and if I'm the schedule makers, it's going to be Eagles with Washington coming to Philadelphia on Sunday Night Football Week 1, because that would be a hot ticket and a great watch overall to see Hurts and Wentz battle it out each other, and they're going to play each other twice a year. So, it was a weird move. I would have gone somewhere else, but I think it shows how desperate the Washington Commanders are to get a quarterback. Pick one. Would you rather, if you went to that game, Eagles, home game against Carson Wentz, would you boo or cheer Carson Wentz? Type B down below for boo or type C down below for cheer. While you're at it, help us reach 26,000 subs and be subscribed to be part of next week's mailbag video, as we are very close. We're less than 300 away from getting to 26K. So if you like the channel, like the videos, go down below and subscribe, because next week is free agency, and I'm telling you, I'm going to be doing so many videos next week, my head's going to pop, but it's all going to be worth it, because you guys need to be up to date, and the Eagles are going to make some moves, and I'm going to be ready for them. So, of course, stay tuned and subscribe for that. Eddie Alexander says, do you think that we'll be drafting a quarterback this draft? Personally, I think we shouldn't, but people like Malik Willis look like a generational talent. I would not draft either Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett. I think they're fine. I think they have some upside, but Malik Willis is grossly overrated. Malik Willis is not ready to play week 1 at all. I mean, you think Jalen Hurts wasn't ready to play his first year? Malik Willis is not even close to being ready. That's not a knock on Malik Willis. That's what NFL scouts and GMs are saying. Like, just look it up. It's not like rocket science here. he's going to go high in the draft because he's a quarterback, but the Washington Commanders were right there in a perfect spot in the early teens to take a quarterback, and they traded for Carson Wentz instead. What does that tell you? It tells you that teams are not thrilled about the quarterbacks in this draft. Same goes for Kenny Pickett, right? Pickett, is the most NFL ready, but how NFL ready is being NFL ready in this year's draft? It's not that ready, right? So I don't see the Eagles doing either of these quarterbacks, taking either of these ones. Maybe you get one in the later rounds because, let's see, look at the depth chart. You're probably going to trade away Gardner Minshew. I don't think he's going to be on the roster, so you need some depth. But in terms of taking like a legit quarterback this offseason or in the draft, nope, I don't see it happening at all. What I do see happening is you getting a fresh Eagles polo right now, and I think you need it for the golfing season. I think the Players' Championship taking place this weekend. Are you going golfing? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. You need a new Eagles polo. Pick it up at chatsports.com/Eagles polo. That link is on your screen right now and down below in the description box. I say it all the time. You get your Eagles gear in the offseason because it's cheaper, and then you don't have to, expect delays because when the season starts, people are all trying to buy up the stuff, and then you got to wait and get it shipped to you. So pick it up right now. chatsports.com/Eagles polo. Pick it up. Link down below in the description box. All right, Colby says, what are your thoughts on Russell Wilson to Denver? Personally, I'm hoping to secure Jalen Hurts' job in 2022. It does. It officially has. Hurts is the Eagles guy for sure. They didn't make a run for Russell Wilson. We talked about that in a video yesterday. It's inevitable, right? They were going to make an offer. Now, Wilson didn't want to play in Philadelphia. That's fine. It's his loss, in my opinion. But this does officially end the idea the Eagles are going to get somebody. Now, Watson remains, and Watson is still the wild card because Howie Roseman's very interested in Deshaun Watson, mainly due to the fact he's a lot younger than Russell Wilson, but the legal stuff makes that too difficult. I'd be shocked if they trade for him. This, to me, has officially, if I was Jalen Hurts, after Wilson got traded to Denver, I slept well for the first time. I'm like, okay, I'm the starting quarterback in 2022. And I think they're fine with that. I don't think this is like we have to. I think it's like, no, we like Jalen Hurts. We could have gotten Russell Wilson. We would have done it, but Jalen Hurts is our guy. They're going to roll with him. So I definitely don't think that this changes much, but I think that this officially secures that Jalen Hurts is our starter. One more here. Jenna Shaw says, we'd rather have Karlaftis or Ojabo. Listen, this is what do I say? 1A, 1B. This is it's hard to decide who you like more. Go throw in the tape and figure it out yourself. I honestly have no idea. I've watched both these guys play. Ojabo has a lot more raw stats, but he's a lot more raw, right? And so that's kind of the thought process there. Whereas Karlaftis has a little bit more, I think, say NFL ready, but the stats weren't massive at Purdue, even though he was very productive, and we're not from a stat perspective, as sometimes defensive linemen do. I would rather have Ojabo just because of the upside. I think the upside is what I really, really like about David Ojabo, because as we talked about here, he's barely played football. Like, he is so raw in terms of his talent from a pass rushing perspective that if you get him in, you get another mission guy like Brandon Graham to kind of put the arm around him and show him how to be a great player. Because you remember, Brandon Graham was very raw. Brandon Graham was not the star that we turned out to love his first couple of years. It took him a while, and so I think having him on the roster with Ojabo would be a great fit. But again, if they get Karlaftis, I'm not going to complain. Just get a pass rusher. You need to get one, and whether it's Karlaftis or Ojabo, I do not care. Just go ahead and add one to the roster because they desperately need it. We'll end on this. You guys pick one. Would you rather have Ojabo or Karlaftis? Type O down below for Ojabo, or type K down below for Karlaftis. All right, again, hashtag Eagles in the comments section as we end today's mailbag video. If your question did not get answered, go ahead and ask it again, and make sure you guys are subscribed as well, because as I've said before, free agency is next week, and it's going to be crazy next week, and we're going to be covering it all, and so be sure to be a subscriber. Also follow me on Twitter, because if things happen, that's the first place you're going to see it is on Twitter. So scrolling through, hit the likes, hit the follows, at Real Thomas Mott is the place to go. All right, ultimate video today on our Philadelphia Eagles news and remember mailbag video. Make sure you guys are subscribed. See you guys next week. It's going to be fun. Be ready for free agency.